Good afternoon, everybody out there. This is Arjax coming at you again. So just logged on. I've already scanned the auction house, and so we're gonna collect our dungeon loot from my mailbox and see what we get as far as gold, and then go sell it. And then I'm gonna be covering the Darkmoon Faire today. Um, Run a little dungeons, and I had a request from a friend to go out and do some quests. Not a huge fan of quests myself, but we'll see how well those quests end up working out. I have to go find a questing area that I can quest in, and since I don't ever quest, um, this will be rather interesting. So the way I'm going to find where I'm going to quest is I'm a level 30, so I'm going to just hover over here and see what area is set up for level 30 questing. So it looks like I got an area there. So down there. So after I cover the Darkmoon Faire and relist my auction house, we'll see how it works out. So it appears that I made about 127 gold from that last haul. About 150 gold. So that's not bad at all, especially for a level 30 character to have nearly 400 gold. So now the Darkmoon Faire is very important. Well, it's not very important, I wouldn't say. It's relatively important, and it's one of those things that you want to do on a new character at least once, because you will get drops that you can't pick up unless you have completed the Dark Fair Moon initial quest string. So I'm going to go ahead and do that after I go ahead and pop this up. And then I'm going to queue for a dungeon, and while I'm queuing for a dungeon, I'm going to try and run to the other zone in order to do some questing. And you know what? Overall, that'll actually help out a little bit because the and the reason why I say this will help out a little bit is because instead of waiting 4 or 5 minutes for a queue occasionally, I will definitely be able to continue on leveling while waiting as opposed to having dead time in my leveling progression. So for the materials and stuff, I know that I don't like buying them at onesies and twosies, but they seem to sell a whole heck of a lot better one or two at a time. So I just list them as individual listings, and it actually works. I think it works fairly well. So, sometimes they don't sell, thus is the life of the auction house. And I'm selling them fairly high in comparison to everybody else. And actually, I should have probably just went ahead and dropped them down to like 11 silver, but I didn't see it. So, oh well. So then I got the remaining few things in my bags, and I'll just summon my mount here because I should probably repair. I don't know if I actually need to repair, and it appears that I do for 1 silver. So, actually, that ring is not for my spec, but it will give me stats. It'll give me stamina. And 4 stamina is definitely better than none, and the spirit is wasted, but that is fine. So in order to start the Darkmoon Faire quest string for Alliance, you got to come over here and talk to her. You're gonna accept it, and you'll get 388 experience, the Darkmoon Adventures Guide, which is very important, and 5 prize tickets. You can run to the staging ground, or you can just do this. It's 1 silver, and it is definitely worth the instant teleportation to me. Plus, that's going to help me. I'm going to use that again to further progress. So the Darkmoon Faire is pretty cool. Basically, the reason why I like it so much is you can get the heirlooms, but on top of that, they have monthly quests that allow you to up any skill by 5 by doing a fairly simple thing. Now, that's not very important for me because I obviously have that quest string already done. So I'm going to show you guys the mounts that you can get here, and it's actually pretty cool. I really like this mount. I don't use it as much because it's only a ground mount, but you know what? I'm going to use it for today. And then there is another one that I'm not a very big fan of, and it's just kind of, it's this one. I'm not a big fan of this. Some people might like it, but I'm not a big fan of it. So I'll show you that one after here. The thing I like about the bear one is that it actually dances, and it's got the little Darkmoon Faire emblem above it. So I'm going to complete this quest so that when I run dungeons, there is a quest item that you can pick up that's usually worth like 50 to 70 gold. I normally just hang on to them until the Darkmoon Faire, like the week before the Darkmoon Faire starts, which it starts at the first Sunday of every month. So the last week I'll start posting them, and then during the week of the Darkmoon Faire I'll post them. They don't seem to sell well outside of that. You know, people don't really think. And what I used to do to make a decent amount of gold is I used to just buy them up on the offset and then resell them during the Darkmoon Faire. So it's pretty sweet, and you can get a couple quests out here that help you. So this guy is the guy that you turn in the quest at. It's very simple, obviously, and he gives you some tokens. So in here you got a couple kind of cool things. Let's see if there is. Oh, there's a bag for one ticket, which is really cool. Especially if you're starting a new character, you can fill up your bags really easy with that. I never even knew about that. And nothing else really of note in here. So let's go. Oh, there was a 160 ticket item in here. So a hammer binds when equipped. Yeah, the stats aren't really that great, but it's for transmog, and it looks pretty decent. But I'm not going to go ahead and spend any time trying to get that. Just not worth it for me. So I always get this quest. It gives you 10 tickets. Normally I don't finish it within a week unless I'm really trying to get tickets, or just really leveling that character quite a bit. So there's a pet battle thing here. I've never actually done that one. And where are the cool things that I wanted to show you for sale? So the guy that you have to buy tickets from is this guy. So I'll normally buy, or tokens rather, I'll buy a bunch of them at a low level, because they go up in price as you level your character. And I don't know if they have a limit on stacking, but I normally buy 100. I've bought more than 100. One of my characters has like 180 or something on it. And it's really an ultimate discussion of what is worth it as far as gold. It's not really that big of a deal. So if you don't want to do that, don't do it. So this is the part where you can buy the heirlooms, and I've covered this in my the best way to get heirlooms video. And I really do think that this is one of the best ways to get heirlooms. I'm actually thinking about redoing that video and just breaking it up into 2 videos. So I might use some of this game footage for that. So the Darkmoon Faire is, I really like it. It is one of those things that I really do enjoy. So I got tickets. You know what? I will just go ahead and do a game since I am here. So I'm going to do Whack-A-Mole. I like this game. It's pretty simple. You have to get the quest, not be mounted, and then talk to her and click Ready to Whack in order to start it. So Hoggers give you 3 hits per one. So I always try to grab the Hoggers when they pop up. If you don't grab the Hoggers when they pop up, you're going to have to play once or twice normally to actually complete this. But other than that, it's pretty sweet. I really do enjoy this game. It's like Whack-A-Mole, except a little bit more difficult. So, oops, I'm probably not going to get him. Oh, I got him. I might actually complete this on the first time through, if I could find that hogger. There we go. Just completed it. And easily within the time limit. So, gonna go complete with her, and I get my little box. In these boxes, it's actually possible to get more than a ticket, but I only get a ticket. I'm not going to open it now because I obviously don't need a ticket, and I'm probably going to, you know what? Now I'll save it for later. So now we're going to go out to our questing point. So let's see how well we can do this. So I'm going to queue for a dungeon while I run up and going to spend my time running over there. It says that it's only going to take 24 seconds. The last couple times when I ran this, did this quest string, or not quest thing, the last time I recorded this, it definitely was not very fast in queuing, and I waited about 10 minutes. So as opposed to just going AFK and letting it ding me and alert me, I'm going to go ahead and actually just start moving towards my quest area and see how that's going to go. I've never actually quested in this area, to be honest. Maybe once or twice I actually did complete a quest over here. So it's actually going to be pretty difficult for me to really give you an account and do it well. But you know what? Let's go questing. So I'm going to try to find the flight points along the way so that I can just fly there as opposed to having to run back, because what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to go to an inn, and when I go to that inn, what I really want to be doing is saving up the rest of the EXP to give me more EXP. And it's one of those things that I always do. I always make sure that when I go offline, if possible, I'm in an inn. And obviously that's not, or a town rather, an inn, a town, whatever it could be. But it's not always necessarily possible to do that. So if you're not able to do that, don't worry about it too much. It'll be fine. So there's quests in this area. What level is this? This is level 25. So, or that's the top. So all these quests are going to give me minimal EXP. I want to maximize my EXP to help level as fast as possible for you guys. So we'll see how well it goes. So I'm just going to go ahead and queue into this dungeon as I run. And I'm going to that flight path so that, you know, I can just fly back. Because obviously at level 30 I have to run. And I haven't come out here, so I don't have any of these flight paths yet. So, and flight paths are relatively important. They're not too terribly important as far as the gist of everything in the game goes, but they are just definitely one of those things that you really want to do. So, we have popped into a dungeon that apparently the tank left. So we'll see if the DPS is good or the healers were bad, or maybe the tank just had to go somewhere. You know, I never judge. I normally ask what was going on, but I do see that they aggroed people that didn't necessarily be aggroed, so I'm kind of assuming that the tank kind of got fed up here. And as I'm completing this, I'm completing my Darkmoon quest string for the 500 people, or 250 grizzly trophies that I'll get while I do this and kill everything else. So normally I'll wait for him to go away to try to kill these without aggroing the boss. I actually probably don't need to do that. Probably could just pull him at the same time. So that is one of those things that is just kind of an old habit that dies hard. And So we'll see. We'll see. Now he's coming back, and we'll kill him, and hopefully they will allow me to do the AoE pulls coming up here. Um, I'm not too optimistic about that though. The reason why I say that is simply because they definitely do have an issue with pulling aggro, and they may not, but that is definitely what I saw from the first time was they were having a lot of issues with pulling unnecessary aggro and ads. So the guy dying was actually my fault. I should have just backed off and not spun him around, but I did that. I messed it up, and it's one of those things that you kind of forget about. It's like, oh no, he's doing this. Maybe I can run behind him, and you're like, oh no, nope, he can't. You can't do that. So let's go ahead and continue on now that the healer has rezzed, and we're gonna go in here. Normally I go to the right. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the right, and we're gonna hope for the best from the DPS. Probably not gonna get the best. So a lot of the times I'll let people know what I'm doing and, just kind of be like, hey, don't hit anything till I get the whole pull. But I didn't do that, and it kind of takes a little bit more time than it's really worth, And that, especially when I was new, I'd be like, hey guys, let's do this. This is how you do it. And now I'm just kind of lazy. I used to have macros for like every dungeon set up to my keyboard where before I went into a dungeon I would, set them up on my keyboard, and like if we're going up against a particularly difficult part, or a part that I kind of want to do a certain way for speed, I would type it into the chat and away we'd go. So yeah, I guess the tank was fail. That's at least what they're saying. So not really that big of an issue for me. The DPS, they did that little minor thing, so that's fine. But overall, they've been pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and let them know that I'm recording. And there we go. So obviously they weren't talking about me. They specified that I was not the fail tank. And so we're going to go ahead and run through here. I would run more of these, but my probably with this group, and they probably would come with me. But my friend wants me to run some dungeons, so or quests. So we're going to run some quests, and we'll see how well that turns out. So this boss is actually fairly easy. I don't know where all these ads are coming from. So yeah, we got kind of a minor griefer about it. So we're going to go ahead, and this boss is going to down. DPS wasn't actually too great in that. I was doing more DPS than everybody, so that is fine. And I'm going to go ahead and leave. That little bit of negativity there definitely does not make me happy to run more dungeons with that group. But that's just me. Some people would be like, oh, well, he wasn't really being all that negative. And you know what? You'd be right. He wasn't being too terribly negative. But at the same time, that little negativity, that's a sign of greater things to come. Or rather, more treacherous things to come. And I really don't care to deal with other people's negativities in the game, especially when I'm just gonna hop on here for about an hour, record this, and off we go. I don't want to be consumed with negativity of a person. So I'm gonna go ahead and queue for another dungeon, and if it pops too soon, I'll just drop, which kind of sucks for the DPS that are gonna be waiting. But I really want to get at least to the next area. So the trinket that I got gave me an extra 7 strength, which will add to my damage. Um, Now, it might be kind of silly to be concerned about my damage as a tank, but obviously, with my heirlooms, I'm doing enough damage mitigation in the dungeons, and I'm doing enough. Um, I'm just overall doing enough damage and damage mitigation for it really not to matter if I have more stamina. Um, and the only time I've died on this character was due to my fault or somebody making a mistake pulling the dungeon. It's not something I need to be concerned with. So when I had the option to get plus 7 strength, which will add to my DPS slightly, I definitely wanted to take advantage of that in the terms of so that I could go ahead and, you know, just deal a little bit more damage than I normally would, which will help with the progression. Which actually, the dealing more damage will slightly reduce the damage that I take, so it's almost the same thing. If I could one hit everything with every AOE that I had, it would absolutely be the fastest dungeon, and the tank certainly would not, or the healer certainly would not have to deal with trying to heal because everything would be dead. So, I know a lot of tanks don't, a lot of tanking guides say don't spec for damage, and I agree with that. You shouldn't really spec for damage as a tank. There's exceptions like at level 90 if you have like level 550 gear and you're a tank class, you could pretty much spec for DPS, go into the dungeon and do like 300 DPS and just skip through everything. So this is the quest zone that I want to be in. Well, actually, it's a little bit farther down. So this is 25 to 30, which I'm just barely at that. Um, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go down to the next area. I'm going to be aggroing these ads just by running by them. Obviously, they're doing very little damage to me. They're doing like 12 damage a hit, 14 damage a hit, and I have 2.7k health. So not too terribly worried about the damage that I'm going to be receiving from them. Uh, the biggest thing that I'd be concerned about is if I aggro too many of them and they had a CC spell. None of these have appeared to have a CC spell, and this guy is just missing all the time on me. So just gonna keep running and get to my goal so that I can use the flight path to get back out here. So this area is pretty cool. I like these little dungeon things. I actually came out here, well, one time on my first toon. Well, not my first toon, but my first toon to reach level 85. To catch one of them as a hunter. I wanted it as my beast. Kind of silly, but it's kind of like Pokemon if you want to think about it that way. Like, that Pokemon fad, everybody, you got to catch them all, and then you go in, you buy the Game Boy game, and you spend all that time trying to catch all the Pokemon. Well, I kind of feel the same way about everything in WoW. It's like I have to have it all. I have to complete every quest. I have to do everything like that. Um, I'm not so big on the quests necessarily because I just don't like doing them. But, there's a quest string here, so we're going to go ahead and start this. And it said that it was going to queue up in like 25 seconds. Obviously, that's not the case. We made it all the way here. And I want to check and make sure that this actually... He doesn't know any flight locations connected to this. So what does that mean? That means I have to go back and get this one. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. So let me go ahead and grab these quests and I'll go back and do that so that once we're done today we can go ahead, Hearthstone back, and then just take the flight path out here. So, and if you don't have heirlooms yet, the Darkmoon Faire method is one of my preferred methods to get it. So, alright, there we go. We got a dungeon after 5 minutes. So like I said, I'm doing these during the week, so it's actually a little bit slower than normal because there isn't as many people on, and it's probably going to fail queue for the healer. And so right now, if I was a healer, it looks like I'd be getting instant queues because as a tank, I am waiting, which means as a healer, they are not waiting. And there's always plenty of DPS. I've never seen a DPS bag available. Although that would be pretty cool to get, like some epic mount by running an end level dungeon with DPS for being DPS. So here we go again. Let's see, the healer queued in. So as long as the DPS is actually there and in game, we should have no issue getting in. But that's not always the case. So it looks like the DPS is going to time out. So the DPS is most certainly going to time out unless they click in a second, and we'll see, and they time out. So we're going to be returned to the top of the queue. This is definitely one of my pet peeves. It's like, oh, yes, I gotta run a dungeon. Oh, no, nobody wants to click in. And it's pretty good indication of the lack of people on because they've probably been waiting a long time, and it probably kind of sucks for them. They probably are like, oh, well, I'll queue for the dungeon, maybe I'll go grab a bowl of cereal, and then after they've been waiting for a while, and then they come back and they're like, I'm not queued for a dungeon, WTF, the moment I walk away, it pops. And I've definitely had that happen. I was in queue for something as a DPS one time, and I literally ended up waiting, I was like an hour and a half in the queue, and I was doing my daily, so I wasn't too concerned about waiting. And I had to go, and the postman rang the doorbell to deliver a package, and after that, when he delivered, so I would go out, I signed for the package, I put it away, and I come back, probably less than 2 minutes away from my computer. I come back, and I am not queued, and it said that I failed to accept the dungeon invite. I was like, are you kidding me? And that's not the only time that's happened. That was just the most memorable time for me of being aware that, as soon as you walk away, I swear to God, World of Warcraft uses your webcams on your computer to tell if you're there. And as soon as you walk away, they'll be like, haha, we'll queue him. And pop them, and you're like, oh, no. Really does kind of suck. So this is probably the biggest annoyance that I have with this dungeon, is this portion of it, and it's just horrible. I hate it. Luckily, one of the DPS or the healer, I'm not really quite sure who it was, ran ahead and threw the bucket of slop on them. So that ended up actually being pretty good. They ran right towards me. I was able to cast my Thunder Stomp and just go to town. So I'm going to assume it was a DPS because we were missing one of the DPS meters on the chart. So I'll just go ahead and assume that it was a DPS and not the healer that ran ahead. I'd have been a little bit more perturbed with the healer if they had run ahead, because, what happens if I was a weak tank and was going to die? And obviously, that's probably not going to be the case because of my heirlooms. And you can just see, I just love my heirlooms. I talk about heirlooms all the time, and, to be fair, I did spend a lot of time to get my heirlooms. I think I have pretty much every relevant piece of heirloom gear, minus the rings that you win from the fishing tournament. I've never really tried to do that. I don't like fishing in this game. I like fishing in real life, but in this game it's like, the reason I like fishing in real life is I get fish and I can eat the fish and it tastes great. In this game, um, I don't get to eat the fish, and so it doesn't taste great. So I'm not really willing to sit there and cast the stuff off into oblivion and just be like, oh, ha ha ha. So, kind of an holy cow, that was a big fail on me. So, let's see if yep, there they go. Obviously don't want to do that. I've never had that happen. I've never died there. So that really does kind of suck. Third death for this character. Um, wish it had been a little bit more epic than that. I don't like dying, and I certainly don't like dying because I was an idiot. And obviously I was an idiot there, just not really paying attention. I didn't know that existed, though. So, I can say that for my defense. So, one of the DPS just goes away and says, hey, I'm going to go grab something to eat quick. And you're like, oh, sweet guy, thanks. And I do understand wanting to eat, but we're going to be through this dungeon in a couple of seconds. Well, a couple of minutes. Why do you need to go grab something to eat right then? And it's like, what are you doing? I just hate it. I just can't stand it. So one of my biggest issues with questing in World of Warcraft is obviously I'm probably, if I do the quest, I'm going to level in relative progression of them. I do have the EXP buff from my heirlooms, so I'm going to out-level the areas before the completion of the quest string. But my biggest issue, overall, 100% issue with questing, is that if I do dungeons, it's faster. And that's ultimately the biggest issue. But beyond that issue is that the quests, if I do them in concurrence with dungeons, I'm going to out-level the zone faster. And then I'm going to have to go and find another zone, pick up the flight points. And I really just feel like it's kind of a little bit of a time sink. But we'll go ahead and do it. And obviously, if you do questing, you're going to get better gear. Or gear that's good for you. See, I'm missing, I'm only really missing a ring right now. But that ring's not for my class, and I got a level 14 boots and all kinds of stuff that really sucks as far as my alternative gear other than my heirlooms. And, my heirlooms make up a good portion of my gear. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 pieces out of my gear are heirlooms out of a possible 3, 6, 8, 16 out of 14. So 9 out of 14 pieces of gear are heirlooms. So that's why you're able to go through and do this. If I had the rings, then it would be 11 out of 14, and there's really no point to get any kind of gear other than that, because at that point you're looking for waist, gloves, boots, and a necklace. So it's 5 pieces of gear. So 11 out of 16, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to do some more concrete math with that. So even though, this is obviously super good as far as stats for me, but it's leather, and I think it might be the same piece that dropped last time. So, I would like to need on everything that's going to improve my stats. If I did that, people would soon become super annoyed. And, that's just one of those pieces of self-restraint that you need to have. Just the armor alone is a big jump. The agility and everything doesn't obviously matter for my class. So I'm just going to go ahead and not deal with that agility piece. And it's leather, so, and honestly, if we had another melee character that wore mail in this dungeon, and there was an awesome tank piece that dropped, I would be super pissed if he needed it on it because it was better stats for him. It's like, dude, it's not even your slot. And, the one thing that they always say when they need on something that's out of their slot is, oh, well, I off-spec. Dude, if you off-spec as a tank, you're not running a dungeon as DPS. I'm sorry. Once you tank and once you decide that you're going to be a tank, that's kind of what you do. That's kind of the only thing you do. That's kind of the only thing you want to do. So ultimately, I just don't buy that they off-spec tank. It's like, no, dude, you don't do it. I'm sorry. You're just like, oh, that's a better piece of gear for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and need on that. But that might just be my pessimism kicking in. Holy cow, I have no idea why I died there. Should not have died there. Healer probably just had a brain quip. I mean, we already kicked everything else down. This, might be a little bit my fault. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't use my shield block. So, I'll ask what happened. And see what happened with the healer. And see if they know what happened or if I just took too much damage. Which I don't think I did at that point. I shouldn't have been taking all that much damage. But oh well. I died. No big deal. And I did not let them know that I was recording. So there we go. Let them know that I'm recording. So no big deal. Get that interrupt off. But holy cow. I don't think this dungeon took long at all. And I'm going to ding level 31. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on here with this dungeon. It gets annoying because I'm going to run it. I'm probably going to run this dungeon quite a bit. I'm in level in progression. I'd run it less if I waited for my rested EXP to get up. But, I'm not going to do that. So we're going to, because if I do that, then I'm not going to be able to show you guys as much stuff as quickly as I am. So, going to go ahead and leave the dungeon and continue on to get that flight path and try to figure out what's going on with this area. So, strength and stamina for -7. I'm not going to do that. So let's go ahead and queue again because it's taking so long. So hopefully I get to the next... am I going the wrong way? I'm going the wrong way. So I'm not very good at traversing the world outside of dungeons. Just never have been able to. So some people I've talked to actually do... Alright, there we go. Now I can fly back to where I was going. Actually do dual spec for tanks, and they level outside of dungeons. Because admittedly, dungeons do get old after a while. You do the same thing over and over and over again as a tank. But sometimes, you just get lucky and you run all kinds of new dungeons, and you're just like, ah! So it doesn't get boring. But most of the time, you're going to run the same dungeon 3 or 4 times in a row. And, I found that happens less when I leave the group and re-queue. Especially if I just leveled. Because it's going to put you at a yellow or green level dungeon for... And I said I was going to use the bear mount, so I'm going to stop using, my favorite mount of all time. And use the bear mount. So, it feels like I'm going slower, but I'm actually going the exact same speed. So, I said I was going to do some quest. That queued a little quick for me. I want to at least do these. Okay. Those two. So, let's move these down here so I can actually read the whole thing. Oh, I'll abandon that one. I'm not going to go back there. So, I'm going to try to get these two done. And we'll see how well that works out for me. I'm going to at least get one done before I re-queue because, admittedly that I'm probably going to end up in the same dungeon. Or you know what? I could just queue for dungeons that are not the same, and these are level 30 to 40. So I've done those. I've done all three of the lower level ones. So you know what? I might as well just queue for the higher level ones and do them at least once in this as I struggle to find out how I'm going to get up there. So my friend I Love Pepsi wants to make a shout out on YouTube. So I'll allow that to happen. What's up, bro? And he's actually the person that requested quests out there. So if you don't like the quests, let me know. If you like the quests, let me know. And we can always do more of what you guys actually want to do, because this is about you guys, not so much about me. I do enjoy just, my favorite thing is with doing YouTube is like logging on and like seeing how many times people would watch my videos, how, if they like them, and if they like them, obviously that makes me happy. But I really, it's just kind of cool to see like people actually watch your stuff. And that's, I did this, I wanted to do the dungeon guides, and obviously, as you can see through here, I do a lot of tanking. So, and I definitely think there are a bit of a shortfall of tanks in World of Warcraft. And so, if I can encourage people to play World of or play a tank, that's going to help out the entire World of Warcraft community. And with that going on like that, it's definitely, if you can grow the community and make them enjoy things better that help other people, because as a DPS, I was always always in awe of the tanks. I was like, holy cow, you guys like do everything. I was like, you guys are so cool. And they're like, oh no, it's just fun. And so I was like, you guys actually like it? And they're like, yeah, I would not run dungeons any other way. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, bro. I was like, maybe tanking is more fun than I thought it would be. And, that was part of, I was always a little bit intrigued by that. But at the same time, I was pretty intimidated. I'm not a person that gets intimidated, but, running dungeon as DPS and not really knowing what you're doing and making those mistakes and getting kicked from dungeons as DPS definitely kind of puts you off to the whole dungeoning experience. And as DPS, you got very little latitude to learn. If you're a hunter and your pet is taunting off the tank, like, some people will lose their minds and kick you from the dungeon, and you just waited an obsessive amount of time to run that dungeon. And it's like, holy cow, bro, why the heck? You're like, what did I do wrong? You're trying to figure it out, and, sometimes they'll be like, hey, turn off your frickin' pet taunt. But other times, they don't even tell you anything. They're just like, they just kick you for being new. And it's like, yeah, that's going to help the World of Warcraft community. So, I'm trying to find out how to get to here, and it's not working at all. Like, zero. I have no idea what I am doing. And like I said, I don't quest. So, bear with me. I hate this. Like, if I had a flying tune, I could just fly there, and it'd be like, oh, la-di-da, you're where you need to be. But I don't. So I went north, to try to get up through the mountains. Now I'm going to have to go south and try to get through the mountains and see if that works. I'm probably going to end up having to go all the way down here. So, let's see. So, it would be different, It would be absolutely 100% different if I could just, run up steep inclines. That would be pretty sweet. I mean, this is a fantasy game. I should be able to climb mountains, not run my mount up them and fall downwards and die. So, fantasy game, I can't climb mountains. I can climb mountains in real life. Come on, World of Warcraft, what's going on? I can kill dragons here, but I can't climb a mountain. Holy cow. But, I mean, it was designed to, be like this. so that you had to interact with the environment and play the game. So, let's see if I can actually get up there this time. And I don't even know what I'm going to do. I never read the quest. So, once I get up here, I'm going to have to figure that out too. So, I am queuing for dungeons while this is going on because it's going to take forever. And, you know, by the time the one area where you're going to get a lot of tanks is queue time that I'm used to experiencing waits like this is with at level 55 where there's a bunch of fresh new Death Knights. So I have no idea how to get the Mind's Eye. So hold on, let's go ahead and read it. Mind's Eye. One nearby valley treasure, nearby giants. The Mind Eye held by Orange Mage Mound just northeast. His name is blah 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 blah. His Mind's Eye, the magic will still be stronger. Thus far, I've been able to get near enough to take it from him. Will you give it a try? So maybe it's a rare spawn over here. We'll go back up and we'll see. Oh, I know what it is. I'm an idiot. So there is a cave over here. You know, you can't really see it, but it looks like a cave anyways. So maybe this is it. Maybe I need to go into a cave, and I'm going to speculate that's what I'm doing. So this is why I hate quests. You know, and if I did them more, I'd probably know this. But I don't do quests, so here we go. Now we have to go into here to go find a Mind's Eye, like a little mini dungeon. And probably not going to be able to do it because unless this is him. I just saw those dead guys there, so I was assuming that I wouldn't be able to do it. So, let's see. Nope, not him. Okay, so the guy is actually here. I see it in my mini quest. Little skull on him. So let's go. Either that or he's a rare spawn, but I didn't get an announcement that there's a rare spawn, so no, this is the guy. So, and I'm really not getting all that much EXP from this. In terms of leveling progression. So we'll see how well this goes. So and then so I do that and I take it to the cape. So where's the cape? Show on map. No, not you. L. So take it to the cape. So this is a little bit harder one. So let's go. So I'm going to go turn in these and then we'll go do that one. I don't know how long this has been going, so I'm going to go ahead and pause here for a second and see. So, I'm about 50 minutes into this, so this will be the slowest leveling progression that I did. But you know what? I set it up to do some quests in the next one. I explained Darkmoon Faire for you guys, and we're going to do a new dungeon, and this will probably end us out. Well, I'm going to at least go and turn in the quest and go to the next zone and see what that has to bring. So, and I'll probably run and go get that flight path. Maybe. Probably not, actually, looking at the time. I do have a lot of stuff to get done today as far as homework, and I ended up sleeping in a little bit. So, you know, I planned on doing this, but I got like an entire class that I have to do today. So we'll see. And then tomorrow, well, actually tomorrow I should be able to do some more. Probably get another episode out tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll see what's going on. Hopefully we get a healer so that we can end on a dungeon and maybe cap 32. But we will see what is going on. If not, I'm at least going to do the quest, turn them in, get more quests, and stage up to do like a quest explosion in the next one. I do enjoy actually seeing like these raptors and everything else, but I'm actually, oh yeah, my fault. I'm actually in the area that I said that I didn't want to do because the quests were 25 to 30, and obviously at level 30, like, you're not going to get any friction. You're not going to be like, oh no, I have to run away, jump, dodge, do that kind of stuff. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So this is going to be the first time this character runs on this dungeon. He's going to be a little bit underpowered for this dungeon. You know, he's a level 30. But at the same time, we're going to be just fine. This is a very easy dungeon. It does take a little bit of time. So, and we got a good healer. So there we go. And off we go. And I'm going to let them know that this is being recorded, because I remembered. Plus, then, people like to see themselves playing video games, and be like, hey, guys, check this out. I'm over here. So, in this thing. So, that's what we're gonna, let them know so that they can brag to their friends that they were on YouTube. Which, and if they wanted to do YouTube, they could easily do it themselves. But this way is a lot less work for them. So yeah, the healer's doing a great job keeping me up. We're gonna probably just tear through this dungeon almost with ease, especially with the good healer. So, that sign be like, hey, go nuts if you want. That's always awesome to hear as a tank. And, we're just going ahead and, completely pulling everything along with us. So that's always helpful. It doesn't matter how awesome anybody is if I can't keep the aggro. So there we go. I did drop a little bit of health a little bit there. So we'll see if, the healer is actually doing a really good job keeping up. So, oh crap. And I'm doing a horrible job. There we go. But that was fine. You watch, you try to watch. Crap. Why are these guys off aggro from me? There we go. My bad, you guys. Trying to do it as fast as possible. Definitely failing a little bit there. My fault. So we'll go ahead and clean these up. And there comes some more. And actually, we could probably continue on here. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and continue on. And just kill these guys as we come along them. So then I'm rooted. And we're going to go ahead and try to pull this area. Got a caster back there, so I want to get away a little bit so that he's going to follow. But they just went ahead and killed him, so that's fine. So let's go this way. I normally go the other way first, but let's go this way first. So let's continue on. There's going to be more guys. Pop that. Hit that. Hit him. Taunt him because I missed. And now I'm stunned. Oh, crap. Dead. I should have paid attention a little bit better. Completely my fault. The healer was doing a great job. Absolutely one of those things. I should have paid attention. If I'd have been paying attention and saw my health dropping. So, whatever. It'll be fine. So, yep. We did wipe fourth death. I failed and I let the healer die, so that is absolutely my fault. Didn't hold the aggro as well as I should have. And that's what you get for running ahead and just, not paying attention. And, it's always a humbling experience, and it's always awesome to... it's not awesome to experience it, but it's just like one of those humbling experiences. You're like, oh, You know, I'm not nearly as awesome as I'd like to think I am. So, and that's always refreshing to get. Um, Not because I like dying and not because I like having other people to wipe, but you know, it's gonna make me a better World of Warcraft player right now. So let's see. You know, obviously this is gonna be fine. You know, and then I ended up wasting all that DPS that we did right there. So from these guys. So I'm gonna have to, you know, that kind of really sucks actually. I wasted all the DPS that we did, and they got a free pass on a heal and got to escape with us. And ultimately, we should have really killed them all. So, but gonna pay more attention to my healer, make sure that stuff is actually aggroed on me. My I figured that my DPS would hold them in the one hit, but obviously not really. So let's see. Yep. So I think they're all on me. So we'll go ahead and grab him and make sure that you know nobody's really getting unaggroed there. Oh, okay. So he's a caster too. Yeah, I forgot about that. So we're gonna come around here to aggro them up here, and go around the corner there and do a. And essentially, what I just did there was a line of sight pull. This is kind of a really messy pull. Definitely not one of my better pulls with this. Warriors aren't very good at this level at doing these chain pulls. Definitely would have a lot better success with a monk. So that being said, but at the same time, I could not pull nearly as much as I just did with a monk typically because the monk only has a certain amount of armor, so they're a lot softer and they do take a lot more damage. So even if the healer is as great as he is, holy cow, why are you attacking me? So he must be mind control. Charmed. Charmed is what it is. So there we go. And this boss is actually taking a long time to down, surprisingly. So, oh well. There we go. We'll run back. I'm going to jump off here, go grab that other boss, and away we will go. So, I actually do like this dungeon. Even though I did fail and die there, it is fine. I'm going to skip those ads. Don't really need to pull them. Hopefully nobody accidentally pulls them, and then we'll be fine. And so this hallway was what I failed at going down. And there are these like little mythical guys that pop up, so maybe that was the biggest issue there. There was guys that I didn't necessarily miss, but I wasn't necessarily aware of as far as them being there. And I didn't, you know, I was just going too fast, and the healer, you know, is obviously going to pull some aggro normally, but if I didn't hit them, they're going to aggro to him, and so then it's going to be a perpetual state of annoyance for the healer, you know, trying to keep me up, trying to keep himself up, and me being oblivious to the fact that he's getting hit is not great. So that's ultimately what happened right there as far as the failure is what I think. You know, I could go back and watch it and try to figure it out. But I'm just going to admit that I failed. And I need to pay attention more to my healer and to the fact if he is being hit or not. So, and actually I'm kind of surprised that I'm doing more DPS than everybody in the dungeon, because everybody is higher than me, and I'm the lowest level person in the dungeon, because I queued for a yellow dungeon as opposed to as random. And if I did random again, I most certainly would have ended up back into one of the two dungeons, one of the three dungeons that I'd already run in this series. Oh, there, that was my fail. I said I wanted to skip him, and then I run too close and aggro him. So let's see, what should I do with this one? Yeah, let's do that way. So instead of pulling the whole group and then getting the boss, I'm going to pull the little group that I have and then go for the boss. So I'm going to try to get my shield blocks up. It appears that the damage that I'm going to be taking isn't going to be all that high. And the healer is obviously keeping up with it. I see it jump down a little bit, so we'll see. I was initially, like, I had the thought of being like, hey, let's jump down and pull those other guys. So, but that's obviously a horrible idea because I'm watching my health, like, jump back and forth. So, as opposed to doing that, let's just go ahead and kill these guys. I'm really glad I didn't jump down to go take more guys on after, I watched that and I'm like, holy cow, I am definitely struggling a little bit here. So, it's not fair. It's definitely my fault. I'm weak. I am the weakest link in this dungeon as far as level goes. And if I was the same level as the healer, who's level 36, we could rape this dungeon, like, hard. So this is going a little bit slow. Somebody, there's going to be tanks out there that are going to be like, healer, keep up. And the healer's doing a really good job. But that's something else you got to be aware of is, you play a big factor in how well everybody else plays. And the same thing with everybody else. If we had better DPS, or, not necessarily better, just doing more DPS, we would, I would be able to take less damage, thus do bigger pulls, thus be faster. If I did more damage, I could pull bigger pulls and do more damage and they would die faster. Now, if I could take more damage, I could do bigger pulls, which then in turn would cause me to do more damage because most of my damage is off from AoE. So if I have bigger groups, then I'd be doing more AoE damage, thus going faster. So oh. So I didn't realize rogues could actually pick these. I just thought they were randomly locked or unlocked. Sometimes rogues can't, so that is that. And they appear to be going back and I'm gonna pick that and we're gonna continue on. That's kind of cool. Always nice to have a rogue in your group for lockpicking. And, there's a lot of really cool tricks that you can do with rogues as DPSs in dungeons. So, I have a level 90 rogue, actually. It's, I think nope, I have a mage that's level 90 also. And those are my only DPS level 90s. So we're going to go ahead and wait for them to come back. Maybe do a little dance action. So go ahead and pull these up. Did it work? We'll find out. I really wish there was voiceover for this that would that we could talk in the dungeon and be like, "Hey guys, what's up? What are you doing?" But then again, you'd get people that'd be like, noob, noob," but there'd have to be mute function. Like Blizzard should partner with Raid Call, is what Blizzard should do. If Blizzard partnered with Raid Call, that would be sweet. like beyond sweet. It'd be like Blizzard would be like, "Hey guys, what's up? We're gonna have raid call client built into our thing," um, which works a whole heck of a lot better than frickin' than their voice over IP stuff. I tried using it before, and it was terrible. Now it's kind of nice that they came in with with that ability, but at the same time, it's like, holy cow, guys! Like, if you're gonna do something, do it right. Don't do it horrible. And it is horrible. Like, it's just horrible. They should partner with. TeamSpeak is much bigger than Raid Call, but I like Raid Call a whole heck of a lot better. And then, if they had it built into their user interface, obviously Raid Call would be awesome and a lot more prevalent. But if they had it built into their user interface, you could have like a guild lobby and like five, like you could just like pop in and like if you entered a dungeon and be like, want to enter Raid Call channel for this instance, you'd be like, yes, absolutely. For a tank, that'd be sweet because I could be like, hey guys, this is what we got to do. And they'd be like, oh, okay, sweet. Let's do it. And you'd be like, oh, awesome. And just point of the story, Blizzard definitely needs to get working voice over P function in their game. Every other game in the world has it. You have frickin' just incredible amounts of people on Modern Warfare talking about owning each other and everything else. World of Warcraft definitely needs it. It would be sweet for PvP too. To be like, ah, noobs, why are you killing me? I hate you. But whatever. That is awesome. And in every video game, you're always going to hear people call noobs and say mean things, so don't really take that too personally if that happened to you. I certainly don't like it, but it's going to happen, and you just need to have a little bit of thick skin, especially if you're going to be interacting with people on a video game, because I really think like the true character people comes out immensely in video games. You know, like a lot of people always say like the true test of character is how others treat people when, they don't have to treat them well. Well, you know what? I'm going to go a step further. The true test of somebody's character is how people treat other people that they never have to know or interact with again, and they certainly don't have to be nice. And that's what you get online. You definitely get exposed to, the true character of people who are playing the video games with you. Yeah, you got awesome people, and they're like, oh, sweet. And you're like, oh, dude, you're super cool. Thanks for helping me out. But then you got the other part of the communities that are like, noob, I hate you, go kill yourself. And you're like, Jesus Christ, dude. That's really telling me who you are as a person. Like, if you look at it in that light, the people that are like that, they're just horrible human beings in life. Because if you're like that to somebody you don't have to, impress and you don't have to deal with, that's ultimately showing me personally who you are. It's like, holy cow, dude. Your mom and your grandma might think you're the best person ever, and your boss might think you're a superstar, but underneath it all, you're just this angry, bitter person that hates everyone. And you lash out in video games because that's what's going on with your life, and you're like, holy cow, how are you alive as a human being? Like you're just horrible, bitter person. Why would you do that? Why are you a horrible, bitter person? And if you look at yourself in a game and you're just, and that's the exception. There's exceptions to every rule. Sometimes people just are having a bad day and they're like, I hate everybody. And that that's excusable. And other times people are just frustrated and they vent their frustration a little bit. But somebody who comes in and right off the bat, like the first thing that they do on a video game is just try to start fights with people and be as negative as possible. That's really telling you who they are as a human being, despite what everybody else wants to think of them. And, you know, you certainly run into a good deal of those people in life and in video games, but you definitely get exposed to it a lot more abruptly in video games, I would say. Like it is super apparent because, they don't know who you are, you don't know who they are, and they can say whatever they want and there's going to be no fallout for their action. And without that check and balance is where you really do get and understand who these horrible people in life are. So I'm going to make sure that nobody else is doing the quest. This guy right over here appears to be doing the quest. So I want to wait until he is ready. Oh, there's another one. So, I don't want to skip their quest for them because, I probably will run this again, but they may not. So, that's just one of those courtesy things that I like to do. Not everybody likes to do that, and that's fine. And you, sir, would be a douchebag. I'm just kidding. Um, want to do escort quest after this. So, there we go. So we did that. Oh, turn it in. And you know what? I actually do quite a few quests. However, they're all in dungeons. For the most part. So, gotta find out which one's gonna be best for me. So that's obviously gonna give me like the biggest boost. So that's what I'm gonna do. Yes, but be careful not to get too far ahead or it will fail. Happened last run. Yep, I know. So, ended up running out of video there, didn't realize it. So, ended up starting the quest, and we're going ahead. I ended up getting the quest. I didn't realize that I was almost out of hard drive space, so, that kind of sucks. So, I'm actually ended up recording this on my C drive, and I'm going to have to go back and clear out a bunch more stuff. I don't know what is taking up all my room on my hard drives, but gonna have to go ahead and clear it out. I have like 4 terabytes of data, but I have just apparently failed at life and doing it. Or maybe this video is just a lot longer than I thought it was, which is a possibility. So we will see. We will see. And if it's a lot longer than I thought it was, we're definitely gonna end up be doing a much longer episode that I ended up gaining 2 levels on. But you're definitely going to see that slowdown in with the as you level up. So we will see how well it goes. I will have about 4 hours left to do homework. So we will see if we can end up doing that. I was going to go in early to school this week because I need to get new parking passes. But I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I think I'm going to end up having to scavenge like 50 cents to put in a parking meter. And just park in front of the school as opposed to parking where I normally park. In the school parking. Which isn't bad. But you know what? I don't want a $5 parking ticket, and they stop counting the meters after 6. So realistically, I only need like 50 cents in order to make that work. Um, well, actually, you know what? I have like 5 hours to do homework, so actually, really not that bad as far as doing homework goes. So I should be able to get it done. I don't know. I haven't read the assignment yet, so I have to go and read the assignment, which I do on my tablet, and then I'm gonna have to come and type some stuff. But ultimately, I'm going to be able to put this on render and get this up for you guys. Probably not before I end up going to class. I'll probably start the upload at around 10 o'clock tonight. So it'll be up at like 2 in the morning, which is super awesome. But after that, then I'll render the no music one for you guys. And they've been getting about equal hits, which isn't a whole terrible lot of hits, but that is fine. You know, the, it's just kind of fun. And I'm definitely getting a lot, people are definitely watching a lot more of my channel by doing it, because I'm looking at the time watched, and since I started doing these, I have people have watched a lot more of my videos as far as time goes. So that's really cool. I put in this effort for you guys, and seeing that actually happen is pretty cool. So I failed. I don't know why I failed. Whatever. I failed. We'll do it later. So thank you guys for watching my videos. I'm going to go and turn these quests in because I'm right here. And then one of the most important things to do is being an inn, because you're going to get double EXP. It's just kind of free EXP. I'm going to end up having to kill people anyways. So let's see if any of this is good for me. None of that is good for me, so I'm gonna, fret over a few silver and end up getting it. So, oh, I actually don't have to go back. I can just log out here in this inn, which is kind of cool. I'm gonna keep my Hearthstone where it's at. Well, maybe not. Let's see. But I'm gonna repair before I hop off. So, if you like my video, please like, comment below, subscribe, and as always, Arjax out.